All right, Ryan, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Lazaro Hive. I'm Ryan Lazaro.
And I'm Matt Lazaro. And today we have a special podcast and our special guest,
Amanda.
So this podcast is a little different than some of the other interviews. I wanted to bring Amanda on because she's a client. She finished an entire year of tolerating me, telling her what to do, right? And so
That must have been a pain in the butt.
yeah,
Only at times.
Ryan's been having to deal with that for 34 years. You are 34, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Just throwing it out there. And smaller arms. But nonetheless,
After watching the YouTube.
nonetheless, Amanda has completed an entire year of my program, and I wanted to bring her on to share her experience. Because the thing is I feel like it's before and afters are great, but actually listening to the story told is even better. There's a ton of people that probably have experienced a lot of similarities in the struggles and successes, and so I just want to have an opportunity to have everyone hear what I've been able to witness basically over the last year.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, Amanda, your journey didn't necessarily start a year ago. It was because when you came to see me, you've already made some progress on your own.
Correct.
Some as in a lot.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so honestly, if I was going back to the beginning of my fitness journey, I started my first diet when I was in the 6th grade. I have struggled with my weight ever since then, and in 2019, I decided that it was about time to do something about it. So I jumped on the keto train with everybody else in the world, and I lost a little bit of weight, and then I would switch from that to intermittent fasting to Weight Watchers to all these different programs. And then somewhere in 2019, I ended up getting pregnant with my son, and then I had him in April, and my biggest thing after that was I wanted to get back on some sort of way of losing weight and getting back in the program. So I tried to do something for those first couple months, and it just nothing was really working, and I felt very out of control and like I didn't have a focus. And that's when I was at CrossFit and I saw Lazaro Nutrition, and I decided to reach out to you guys.
There you go. That's how she found her way, guys. Yeah, so how much weight did you lose prior to coming in, though? Like, because you'd already been, you went through that whole process, doing things on your own and trying different things.
I was at about 45 pounds.
Yeah, and that's hard to do. I think what people fail to realize is that anybody who's legitimately struggled with weight for the vast majority of their lives, it becomes more complicated because there's like this emotional tie to food or just different perspectives and all these other things that are associated with that. And so let's back up a little bit because I am interested, and I know we've talked about this before, but I want other people to hear. So you said as early as 6th grade you started dieting.
Yep.
So what made you feel like that you had, I mean, because in 6th grade, what, you 12 years old?
Younger,
Roughly?
I think I was like
11,
10,
12?
10 or 11,
10 or
yeah.
11, okay. Like what compelled you to feel like you had to do that?
I was bigger than everyone else in my class.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, body image starts when kids are, 5 or 6 years old. And really by the time I was in 6th grade, I remember looking around thinking, I'm not the same size as everybody else. And that's what prompted me to at least start thinking about it. And my mom was always on and off of Weight Watchers, so that's what I started with.
So
Were people always teasing you in school at all, or?
Not really. I mean, I had a really good group of friends. It was really all internal. Like,
Gotcha.
I decided to do it because I didn't like not looking like everyone else.
Yeah.
Got it.
So how long do you feel like that kind of, like this perception of being on and trying dieting, how long did that, like how'd that progress through your teens?
Honest to God, I, since that moment, cannot remember a time where I either wasn't dieting or wasn't in the mindset of I should be dieting.
And when you say dieting, you mean restricting something,
Yes,
right? Whether
exactly.
that's how much?
Following something structured.
Right.
Yeah.
Following either a program or, something off the internet that I found. I mean,
Yeah.
something.
And have you always worked out?
No, on and off. I worked out in high school and then didn't through college. Maybe a little bit, but not too much.
Did you like to work out? Did you do any sports at all?
I did sports. I did track and field and volleyball, but I was never like the best one on the team, and I was never really that like very athletic person. I always hated running the mile in PE. That was like the worst
Still hate
day.
that.
And I don't think I really enjoyed exercise until I found CrossFit. Actually
you
found
enjoy
CrossFit the
this?
second time. Occasionally, sometimes. I complain a lot.
Usually
So.
Monday, but by Tuesday,
I start not
like,
enjoying
oh
it.
no.
See, Tuesdays are my favorite, then goes downhill from there.
Well, it's a squat day. You
Yes,
gotta like
exactly.
okay, so no sports background. Always felt like you've had the urge to diet. Let's jump ahead a little bit. So, when over the year what your progress has been? What has it been like? Like what did you start at? Like percentage wise? Like let's talk percentages because I think when people think pounds seem to be as important as they are for some of us. When you look at your overall drops, because you lost what 4? You said how much before?
I had lost about 45 before.
And then during
I think
the
I'm at
program?
50 or 55 more.
So that's like over 90 pounds.
Yes. I'm almost to
wow.
100.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost to 100 pounds.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and mind you, that's been a multi-year process.
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. And I'm going from like my biggest, which I think was actually in like, I want to say like 2013, 2014.
So I bring that up because close to 100 pounds of weight loss and over, since 2013, so we're talking like, 8 years almost, 8-year
yeah.
process.
Up and down in there too.
Yeah, and I bring that up because it's important that people understand when they're pursuing these things, it is going to be a longer term type of thing, right?
Absolutely.
So, okay, tell me what was so different when you started working with me, though.
So I walked into you, and what I wanted was someone to tell me exactly what to eat to lose weight. Like, eat this.
Just lay
it out. Like,
ABC.
make it so like simple that I couldn't
Yeah.
fail.
I remember that actually.
Yeah, that was like, I just was at that point where I just needed someone to tell me exactly what to do.
Would you like anything else? No.
Yeah,
No.
Actually,
Keep it
I
like that.
remember now. Week after
Yeah.
week, I was like, "Don't you want something different?" She was
No.
like, "No."
Don't
No.
let me steer. I'll go out of control.
Yes.
But did you knowing the option was there?
Yes.
Is it where we started eventually dabbling?
Absolutely,
differently?
yeah. So for the first couple months, it was very much like I just wanted structure. And I think what I learned in those months was that kind of that emotional thing you were talking about, like taking the emotions out of it and being more aware of everything. I definitely was the kind of person who would eat really good for 6 days a week, and then that 7th day a week, probably, like 5 times the amount of calories I should have ate.
Sounds like Ryan.
I still struggle with that
Friday,
occasionally.
Saturday, Sunday.
But it was just like the knowledge of like, if you do that, you're not going to have any progress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did something click when you were able to make that actual association?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is what I see with most people is that doesn't. They kind of knew that already.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. But then that self-realization starts to kick in once you start seeing through some of the redundancy of what actually works. Right.
Right.
And that's managing your calories and being objective about how much you're actually eating.
Yes.
And all of that. And that's complicated, right?
Absolutely. So one time I remember walking in here, and it had been another week where I was like not 100%, like didn't lose as much weight as I wanted, or maybe didn't lose at all. And you looked at me and you said, well, you're the only one who knows like why this happened. And it was such a come to Jesus moment for me. I loved it because I was like, shit, like it's just me. Like
Yeah.
I need to either make the choice to eat right or not. Nobody else can do it for me. So that was kind of my turning point.
And so when you say Fortunately, I can't remember all the. I feel like I'm like, am I being a jerk sometimes?
No. I need that direction.
Yeah. You get structure and accountability,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And you know, well, and so when you say like eat right, and so the thing is like, what did that used to mean compared to what does that mean now?
So the biggest thing with eating right that changed for me was really looking at calories, not at like, I did a lot of, like keto, you can have as much, fat as you want as long as you don't have carbs and all that kind of stuff. So I just started looking at calories, and then within those calories having to hit that protein goal that you always gave me, it really just changed my whole look at food.
Yeah.
So for a long time, like the majority of my calories came from protein because I needed to hit that goal.
Yeah. Definitely protein sensitive in that regard.
Yeah. But it was really good for me because I feel like that's when I started feeling good, and that's when I started like not only seeing the change in my weight, but also seeing like the change in my energy when I ate this way, and the way I felt, and the way I slept, and the way I didn't have certain like physical conditions that I used to have. So yeah, that was it.
Yeah, because in the beginning, especially in the first few months, I always was asking you almost the exact same questions, right? Like every single week. So
Yeah.
How are you feeling? How's your sleep? How are these things? And then like, usually what happens is at one point, one of those things is going to be off, right? And then did it progress in a way that you felt like it was easier to identify those things the further along you got?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that at some point, I don't know if you remember the peanut butter thing. So
I do actually.
I really like peanut butter, and you had me really measure my peanut butter, which is
Like the
very
real weight?
depressing. Yeah, if you really measure your peanut butter, you're like, how is there that many calories in this little tiny
It
bit?
hurts your feelings.
Yes,
you know?
it does. But it really started to make me like see the difference in like how you can eat a lot of food within this amount of calories, or how you can eat a very little bit amount of food within this calories.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
It's real. It's real eye opening when
Exactly.
especially with, I would say with like fat content. And typically the funny thing is with fat content, it's not always by itself. Usually it's coupled with something else, right? Whether it's protein or whether it's with fats and stuff like that, or I mean carbohydrates. So one thing I want to point out,
Yeah.
during this process, you still managed to go enjoy life quite a bit.
Yes, yeah. I travel a lot,
Yeah.
and we managed to do that even through COVID and everything. And those were always weeks where I would look at you and say, well, I'm going to eat whatever I want. And you'd be like, okay, well, don't go too crazy.
We'll see when you get back, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
I mean, that was the thing. You said you were going to
Yes.
eat whatever you want, but you still actually had some type of structure.
yes, and that was what was so cool is, and you can ask my family, they all saw it, is I felt like when I was there, I was like, okay, I still want to, have the churro or whatever it is, but also I know this progress I'm making, I know this journey I'm on, and I don't want to completely go backwards. And it just mentally, it allowed me to have like a little bit of freedom, but also kind of come back to it. And then when I got home, it allowed me to jump right back on the train, which is something I never did in the past.
And do you feel like what was the difference in being able to jump back, whereas before was it more of a downward spiral?
Yeah. I mean, once I went off, I was just off for months because, it's harder to get back on once we're just on vacation. But it was really the accountability, coming in here every week and knowing that you'd be like, all right, see you on Thursday. Like, I know you just got back. And, it was having someone not allow me not to come.
Yeah.
I mean, that was huge for me because I have done so many programs where if you don't show up, nobody says a thing.
It's true.
So having that hey, you're supposed to be here, where are you at, or when are you coming back, it really does. I mean, it just kicks you right back into it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I always find it's different for everybody to a degree, whether it's for you is the accountability factor. For other people, it could be something as simple as they have something they can reference to go back to, rather than people haphazardly doing things.
Right.
And so as you progressed, you didn't even need a menu after a while.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We started going into macros and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Do you still track everything?
Yes.
You do, huh?
I sure do. Yeah.
But mind you, do you enjoy it to a degree?
I do. I actually feel like I want to track everything because I've gotten to a place where I truly like enjoy making good choices and seeing like the food I eat laid out for me. It just really helps me visualize all that. And it does keep me like, it reminds me of like, hey, if you're going to eat, you know, your kids' chicken nuggets, let's look up how many calories they are. Let's look up what nutrition's in them. So I like tracking, but I have days where I don't track and I don't go off the rails. So it's kind of, there's
I recall there's been some weeks where you were like, well, I haven't logged anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then we check your numbers and they're fine. It's because there's still a certain amount of objectivity that's there with how you're measuring and just approximating.
Right, yes.
Arguably, I'd say most people are really terrible at that. But so did at any point did you feel like it was over restricting?
No, I actually probably felt the opposite occasionally. I was like, how can I eat this much food? It doesn't feel like it should work that way.
Yeah, actually, I recall you saying that a lot. You're like, are you sure? Like, well, the numbers don't lie, so yes, I'm sure.
But I think that comes down to like knowing the nutrients of your food because before I would eat less food, but it had so many more calories.
Yeah, the caloric density.
Yes, exactly. So then it's like, well, this looks like so much food, but it's, good, nutritious, healthy food that isn't so dense in it.
Yeah, and you still enjoy other things, right?
Yeah. I definitely do.
You're like, oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Probably going to enjoy. You said you're going to Disneyland soon.
Yes, we're going to Disneyland.
You're definitely going to enjoy food there.
Yes, absolutely. There has to be some give and take, right?
Yeah. So, did you notice a difference when you started making these diet changes? Did you notice a difference in your performance in CrossFit?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel much more capable now, and my CrossFit journey has been similar to this nutrition journey where, I started out not being able to lift much, not being able to do certain things. I don't think I could even run a lap the first time I got here, and now I can pretty much, do the workouts the way they're supposed to be, even if I'm complaining the whole time. But I do think like just dropping weight allows you to move better and feel better when you're moving. And so I have noticed a lot of that, just feeling good.
Remind me, did your muscle go up during this process?
Yeah.
Not a ton, right?
Not a ton. It kind of stayed the same. It went up just a little bit. So.
No, mind you, though, that's probably better than what we see most of the time. When we see someone that loses that much weight over time, generally a lot of it is going to be muscle, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So overall, would you say are you more confident in your approach to food?
Oh yeah. I, for the first time in my life, I think I was about halfway through the program, I looked at one of my best friends and I said, I know that it will work. Like I've never had a program. It's always been like, well, we'll see if I get there. Well, I'm trying to make this work. And I was like, it might take a lot of time because that is the one thing I tell everyone is it does take time. Yeah. But I know it will work. And I still feel that way.
Yeah. No, and your due diligence is what's proven. It's proven that. There were times I think I recall where your progress was kind of stalled or stable, more or less. But we kind of knew why.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's not like we were like, oh no.
It was those Saturdays.
But then it's like you have to go through your reevaluation phase, and then you're the one that has to reach that point where you actually feel like, oh, okay, this is making it. Just was it like these coming to Jesus moments, or how was it like?
The biggest thing for me with the stalls was the stuff that I wasn't counting. So like I mentioned, I have 2 kids and, if they didn't finish their chicken nuggets, you eat 1 or 2 or, you take a bite of the birthday cake, even though you aren't going to have a piece or whatever it is, and all that stuff. It was realizing how much that can basically undo what you've done. Not to where you're necessarily gaining weight because you're not eating as much as you used to, but it definitely doesn't help you lose weight. Yeah. So that's what I tried to cut out to really get my weight loss progress doing better was all that extra little stuff.
Yeah, the little things add up.
Yeah.
little
Yes,
here,
exactly.
little there. I'm working on that.
Ryan has little ones too.
It's hard. I don't know what it is about the kids. They always bring home candy and cookies.
Oh, yeah.
And
The schools are horrible.
I know.
Like
There's
what
so
they're
much
giving
stuff.
to the kids.
Yeah.
And just crackers and cookies and
Mm-hmm.
candy and
Oh,
juice and just all sugar, carbs.
Yep, totally agree.
wow. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. I can go off the rails on that one.
But hey, they follow the food pyramid though, right?
No, stop. You're triggering me. I'm getting triggered. No. Oh man. Yeah, no. So it's always really it's funny too. I remember when you told me, "Hey, I think this is our last week," and I was like, "Already?"
Yeah.
It felt like it went by fast.
Yeah, I
You know?
felt that way too.
It wasn't like pulling teeth. You know.
No, I actually, I really enjoyed this last year, and there were times where I got frustrated, but it was nice to have someone to say like, "Hey, why isn't this working?" And then we
Yeah.
could reevaluate and come back to it. And obviously, in the end, it worked. It really worked.
And it's not like I ever came up with something super complicated for you to follow.
No,
right?
actually, everybody who sees me asks me how I lost weight at this point in my life, and I always refer them to you. But in the end, I say, well, it's just like it's calories. It's calories, and that makes it so much more simple than all these other things that I've tried.
Yeah, everyone has like a shtick or a gimmick.
Try to be
behind it.
super fancy. Hey,
Yeah.
blood diet.
Yes, exactly. All of
It's-
the diets.
Yeah, man, some of the questions I get sometimes it's pretty interesting. But it's like I go back to, but arguably it's not like we didn't know that it's calorie management, right? It's just the application part of that interjected into your life at the moment, and how is that?
Yeah, the proper approach for you.
Yeah. Do you feel like it was personalized enough in that,
Oh,
in that
yeah.
context? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because arguably that's where the success lies, is so you feel like you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the more you feel like you can do it, the more likely you're actually going to do it. you know?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that is one of the biggest differences is this is a program that throughout the whole entire thing I felt like I could do. I mean, I was so confident that I could do it that, I was, telling people like, yeah, I'm going to do this. This is what
Yeah.
I'm doing. I will get to the end. And
Did he threaten you with burpees? Like, hey, you didn't make this weight, you got to do 100 burpees.
that might not have been a good tactic for me. Burpees are not my favorite.
I only tell people that when they show up late.
Actually, I will say one thing you told me when I first started,
Yeah.
because I was only coming to CrossFit maybe once or twice a week. You told me that was okay. And that was big for me because at the time I wasn't
Yeah.
ready to come 5 days a
Oh,
week.
yeah.
and do all
Everyone's
the
like, hey, you
stuff.
got to work out 6 days a week, twice
Yeah.
a day. Like, do
Yeah.
1 hour of cardio.
You
Right.
know, and that's prior to someone actually gaining better tolerance to exercise. And
Yes.
and exercise is basically stress, right?
It
And
could relieve stress, but also cause
Oh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
bad stress if you're overtraining.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like the funny thing I see here is most of the time it's either people are willing to kind of test the waters with their training and then kind of progress, or they're just literally just jumping in head first. And I'm like, hold on, stop doing that. This is why they get on this
Well,
crazy
are you
cycle.
okay?
Well, but remember, it just what you mentioned earlier about when you're feeling good and you're going to start overreaching and you're.
Oh, yeah. Had a phenomenal workout earlier, but was going to start.
This fool was
a
ready to
run,
run a mile
run a
and go
mile,
bike for
do the bike.
whatever, like another hour of training. And what he realized is he goes, well, I probably shouldn't do that because number one, it's not going to burn that many calories. But number two, I'm probably going to end up binge eating tonight.
Right.
So,
Yes.
and this is something I think most people experience but fail to make the correlation to what's actually causing it. And a lot of it is just this overreaching and stressors and things that their body's not ready to adapt to. The next thing you know, you're just like overwhelmed and your hormone levels are disarrayed and you're just eating to feel better.
Absolutely.
Then you just wreck your sleep and stuff like that.
Yeah, all the things.
So you never really had sleep issues?
No, sleep was,
Right.
I mean, I had a newborn, so
Well, yeah,
I do
I mean-
have tons of sleep issues.
Yeah.
But I had to work around that because it wasn't a sleep issue I could fix.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of had to accept that it's like with the newborn, it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not going to expect.
Rub a little whiskey on the gums.
Is that what you did to your daughters? I'm telling your wife. No, but that's what are some of the other things that you feel like changed over time, aside from the way that you even just view food?
Let's see. So I suffered from like a lot of acid reflux for a portion of my life, and that went away completely. Like I have zero problem with that. Trying to think of what else. I mean, my sleep quality did improve, and I still find that if I have a day where I don't follow the plan or I do, excessively eat, I don't sleep well.
Yeah.
So those are really the physical things that changed for me. And then just honestly, I feel so much better about myself.
Nice.
That it's like been a night and day difference.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Does your husband notice the difference?
Yeah. He's very supportive, and he I don't know what he said, something like he was gonna try to like jump on the train too because now I was making him look bad or something.
Like,
It's like, oh, hold on. It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh, getting in too good a shape.
We gotta do this together.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, no, and so how drastic of a difference is your overall relationship with food now from just even a few years ago?
I can't even describe how different it is. I look at every food differently. I look at like you were saying, like what my kids eat, I look at that differently. Yeah. I feel enlightened in a sense, and it took me a while to get there to truly understand like calorie density. And then I'm a protein fiend now, and I was never that person before. So, I'm like protein drinks all the time and all this stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Now,
especially trained this way, you better be getting the
yeah,
protein.
got muscle mass.
Yeah.
Do you have certain foods that you desire to have weekly, or do you treat yourself once in a while? Like, how do you go about that approach?
So I love turkey, and I love ground turkey, and I tend to use that in almost all of my
I'm
recipes.
talking about the good stuff.
Oh, okay. I was like,
real
wait.
good stuff.
Okay.
Oh, looking at you like, what?
Like,
Well, okay. So you're saying like, what do I
the
treat
dirty
my-
thing.
Oh gosh. Well, that's changed too, which is kind of funny. But I buy like the ice cream pints that like have the calories on the outside, so the whole pint is 250 or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like a treat to me. I really
Gotcha.
like that. Chocolate's kind of been my thing ever since I had my son. My taste kind of changed. So if I am gonna like really treat myself, it's chocolate.
Yeah.
for
Or you
sure.
find yourself maybe choosing better quality.
Yeah. Or like I said, like there's like the Lily's chocolate that has like the
I like
lower
that
sugar. Yeah, I really like it. And so
They sweeten it with stevia. That's
Yeah,
why.
exactly,
Actually,
yeah.
I think it tastes really good. Actually.
yeah, I also do this thing where I get a protein drink and then I have a milk frother and I froth it and I put it on top of my coffee, and it truly tastes like a Starbucks to
Yeah.
me. I love it.
I never thought about that.
I think we just say it does just to.
No, it
Stay on
tastes
track.
really good. I really like
As you
it.
can tell, Ryan's been struggling. We're
A little
starting
salty over here.
Intervention.
No, so the thing that's always a relief to me, and it's the fact that you're not restricting yourself in a way that makes you feel bad and has this bad relationship with food, and it's like, oh, I don't deserve this, and like there's this like downward spiral of self-judgment and things like that, right? I don't hear that when you talk about it, and then when you even decide to do and have other foods that previously we thought were like, oh, these are the devil, maybe they lead that way.
You did tell me once that I could eat cake every day if I wanted to.
In theory. But the thing is I doubt that you'll feel the same.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And so,
I feel the same.
but that's the thing. It's hearing you tell your story. I love the fact that you've made this association with the fact that the priority of how you feel is put above everything. It seems like, and then everything else is kind of like follows suit. But that kind of goes with everything that we always talked about. Moving, eating foods that make us feel good, not eating too much, sleeping as much as we can relative to our. But that's the thing. It's hearing you tell your story, I love the fact that you've made this association with the fact that the priority of how you feel is put above everything. It seems like, and then everything else is kind of like follows suit. But that kind of goes with everything that we always talked about. You know, moving, eating foods that make us feel good, not eating too much, sleeping as much as we can relative to our situation.
Right.
And then, so has it changed the way you interact with other people and just your life in general?
Yeah, absolutely. What I've noticed is I made myself a priority in the sense of I, committed to doing this with you, and I committed to working out, and that allowed me to be the best version of myself in every other thing I do. So I feel like a better mom when I take care of myself, and I feel like a better student and a better business owner and a better all these things, all of my jobs. I feel more confident and I feel more capable. And sometimes I think it's just the realization of like something I've struggled with since I was 10 years old, 22 years ago. Yeah. And I finally have a handle on it. It makes you feel like, wow, I can control my life.
I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Like, especially with people prioritizing themselves. I mean, obviously you have a family, you have to take care of your husband and your kids, but a lot of people forget about themselves.
Absolutely. Especially moms.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to be like, okay, you first, and then kind of just start going crazy.
I'm gonna say something really controversial, and it's only because I've been doing this for 18 years. The vast majority of my clients are women, like roughly 90%, and they're women with children. And I can make a strong argument that mothers will, in my opinion, to a degree, use their children as an excuse, right? It's an excuse, and I call it an excuse because they say they have to do this or do that, but just like the old airplane analogy, you got to put your mask on first before you put it on,
right?
Your child, because it's. And this even goes back to kind of what I was saying in one of the previous podcasts is it's like you're willing to die for your family, but you're not even willing to live for them.
Right.
And then until that self-realization kicks in, and then self-acceptance, and that will, I would say that listening to you talk, it's like you're going through these different stages of understanding yourself more and more and more, and you have a different type of confidence about yourself now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I know what you're saying with the excuse thing. I think that sometimes as parents, as a mom, you think I have to do this or I have to do that until you realize that you don't. So it's almost like the world lies to you, or you're lying to yourself in the sense of like, I can't focus on nutrition because I have to deal with my kids. Well, truly, you can. And, I kind of understand if you say I can't make it to the gym every morning because of my kids.
Certain things, Yeah,
absolutely. But like nutrition, what you're putting in your body, it is something that you can control even when you feel like you can't.
So how dramatic, how many things had to change around you? How many patterns or behaviors did you have to change for that to allow that to happen?
My biggest thing was what I keep in the house and cooking and eating at home. So, I swear we used to go out to eat almost every day for one meal of the day, or pick something up, that kind of a thing. And over the last year, that has really changed to where that's like once a week. And it's usually if I'm not involved. So like my husband will get something for the kids, like,
keep me out of it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot more difficult to eat the way you want to eat when you're relying on other people to cook it for you. You can do it. It is possible. But now I find myself like, if I'm going to go out to eat, I have my certain restaurants that I know I can do. Those are the ones I pick. If you're going to give me the choice, that's what I'm going to go to.
There you go.
And, but for the most part, I eat at home because I can measure and I can do all the things I want to do.
Yeah.
Ever bring your measuring
scale to the restaurant? Yes, I have a portable one.
To sell drugs.
I know. My husband actually bought it for me, and I was like, "What is this for?" He's like, "So you can measure your stuff." It's a whole thing.
You said my steak was 6 ounces.
It's 4.5.
There's something wrong here.
Oh man, I actually saw a post like that. And
I think you told me they their measurements are
Pre-cooked.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pre-cooked, yeah.
This is 16 ounces. What the heck?
Yeah.
You know, so the interesting thing about the food industry in general, especially if you go to a restaurant, you can almost guarantee they're never going to overserve you protein.
No,
That's the most
You
expensive.
get a lot
thing.
of potatoes though.
Oh
Yeah.
god,
French fries.
It's so cheap that they'll just stack that
rice.
stuff on. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll notice when how they garnish their plates if you're going somewhere more fancy or just in general like regular fast food and stuff like that. It's done up in a way to make it look more appealing than it really is.
I mean, when I go buy something, let's say it was a burger and fries somewhere. If I literally just said I don't want the fries or the veggies and I just want the patties, the price is the same.
It's the
Yeah.
same.
I was like, what the heck?
Should I say like 50% off
Yeah.
or something? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You have like just little ass patties that look so sad.
What the heck?
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, what was my other question?
I will say
Yeah.
too that what I keep in my house is really important because
Yeah.
when I started, I had my, shelf that had the cookies and the candy and I'm a sweets person, so that's really what gets me. And I had to throw them away.
Yeah.
Because there are definitely moments of weakness and times where I'm
Fair.
like, I just want whatever's here. But if it's not here, it makes it a lot easier to.
I don't feel like driving to the store.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
I try to explain the importance of that and how not ridiculous that actually is to people
No,
because
yeah.
people feel that that's a normal thing, and we only perceive it as normal because we're told it's normal, right? We have these big pantries.
Oh, man.
It's true.
You can walk in, and generally, if your pantry is full, you're probably eating a lot of processed foods that
Yeah.
are really calorically dense. But the thing that if you know that you've struggled with, like, let's say late night eating, maybe some form of overeating or borderline binge eating, there's different levels of these things in a sense, even where people do develop food eating disorders and stuff like that. And let's just assume it's not clinical levels of that, but subclinically, like we all probably are on some spectrum with an eating disorder.
Absolutely.
And one thing I have to explain to some people is like, look, if it's there, your behavior that you've associated with, and that's a natural thing just to grab.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
it's
I mean, I found myself in bed with a box of Cheez-Its before watching Netflix, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
I'm like,
Why is it
And
going?
I'm like, where'd it go?
And listen, this the reason you can eat a whole box is because the act of eating.
well, yeah, I'm focusing on what I'm watching, but
Yeah.
I don't even know I'm eating.
But just the act of eating in general, it's a different behavior. It's something you don't have to your not to get too technical, but if you don't have to use your prefrontal cortex, like with making a decision. So like if you're having a conversation with somebody and we have to think about, you're using your prefrontal cortex. If you have to decide, like if your kids are doing something wrong and you're disciplining, these are active type decisions. But things like eating, especially like that, and especially when you have been eating that way for so long, it is the act of changing that behavior is the only thing that will stop you. Period. Like, which means things like in proximity, you're going to get it.
Absolutely.
They actually have research on where they went into an office and then they had candy, and then I think they had like maybe 60 employees, and then so they broke it up into 3 parts, and one part they said put the candy in your drawer, the other they said put it on top of your desk, and the other group put the candy in a drawer on the other side of the office. So guess which one ate the most, right?
The one that was right there.
I would go for all 3.
So the group that actually had to get up and go grab it, it was like a reduction in 85% or more,
Wow.
which is
Just
huge.
the thought of having to go and walk,
Get it.
make the effort to go there.
But it's also associated with creating a pattern in your eating habits. And so when you break those patterns by completely removing certain things, it's significantly easier.
Or if you're smart, you just pay one trip there, grab the whole thing, put it.
That's probably you're ruining the podcast.
But the reality is, someone's going to do that.
Some people are going to definitely do that, but the people that actually care about themselves are not going to, right?
They're about their sweet tooth.
Oh man.
I do think it comes down to intention, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have to intentionally change a behavior, and you have to have that like cognitive, like I'm going to not. Like for me, ice cream in bed, like that's not a good habit for me. Like
don't think
even
it's a good
if
habit
it's
anyway.
yeah, that's true.
have a
Even
lot of
if
fun with
it's the healthy ice cream or whatever, So it's like if you're gonna have ice cream, sit at the table.
Yeah.
Like that would totally change a lot of people's,
And you're still going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And
Drink
arguably, one thing, think about this. Most people experience the cessation of pleasure prior to eating. So that impulse, when you get it, so
It's like a little high. Like,
yeah,
oh, yeah.
So
Dopamine.
that's dopamine, and you're chasing it. And a perfect example is when you have small children. You see how freaking crazy they get when they want something.
Yeah.
So the only difference is that we're older, and your prefrontal cortex is developed enough
To compose yourself.
to not act like a complete psychopath, right? And that's one of the things that we're dealing with.
90% of the time, though, when I binge eat, I feel horrible afterwards.
Oh, absolutely. No, that is
Yeah.
so true.
Like,
Absolutely.
I feel bloated mentally. I feel like I just sabotaged myself.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you hit yourself still like you were a kid?
That never happened.
when we were kids, Ryan.
Testing my pain tolerance.
When we were kids, Ryan would do something, and then I would pretend like I was hurt, and then I'd get him in trouble. And before our mom could discipline him, he would get like a water bottle and then hit himself.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
And by the time our mom
I
would
did
come-
it. You don't have to spank me.
Yeah. He like totally self-inflicted pleasure.
Oh, that's funny.
And I was like, what? I was like waiting for him to get beat though. I'm like, that's not fair. He did that and he did
He
to
was
avoid.
smart.
Yeah. I feel like that's a manipulation.
Kids are the best manipulators.
Oh God. Children are basically little narcissists,
Yeah,
right? It's all about
absolutely.
them.
Yep.
But that's the thing. So it's just like I always try to tell my clients, you got to let yourself go through the experiences. You're never gonna not have a time where you're gonna want something, or where you're gonna be in a bad mood, or you're gonna have an event, or even when you're happy, like you're still gonna want to do something. Celebration is at the root of a lot of these.
I think
things.
a lot of people though plan for self-sabotage. Like, what's your thoughts on people saying, okay, every Saturday I'm going to do this?
Oh, you mean like the old cheat meal type of
cheat
thing?
meal,
Yeah.
cheat day.
So, okay, I probably told you amongst everybody else, is like ideally you don't want to look at those meals as cheat meals, mainly because you're not in a relationship with your food, number one. Because to imply that you're cheating implies that you're doing something wrong. And it also implies that you are in a relationship with that thing.
Yeah.
So the more you get away from that, in my opinion, for most people, is at least my clients, especially since, I would argue that the cheat meal concept is almost like leading yourself down the road of a type of food eating disorder.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
Right.
kind of a relationship though.
Well, maybe
When you eat, you feel happy. When you're sad and you eat, you feel happy.
That's probably the problem.
Well, everyone is an emotional eater. That's
Sure.
But it's
I'm
okay.
eating for gains.
It's okay to acknowledge that, right? But so it's nothing wrong with enjoying your food, right? And this is also why I told you, make sure your food tastes good.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
man, too many people are like, "Hey, so I'm eating plain boiled chicken breast
Oh my
and
gosh.
plain white rice and broccoli." I'm like, "What the heck are you
Like,
doing?"
let's see how long this will last.
Yeah.
2
One
days.
year, like, yeah,
Or they eat that during the day and they go wild at night,
They're like, then I just had a big old burrito. I feel good now.
They go, no shit. You just ate 1,200 calories
Yeah, seriously.
after your 400.
I think the thing with the cheat meal too is it gives you the freedom to eat as much as you want during that meal. And I have firsthand experienced how that can completely reverse your calorie
yeah.
deficit.
Yeah.
That, and I think, at least for me, like if I'm gonna binge eat or drink, the next day it's that temptation is still
Oh yeah.
there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. Well, I love everything about your journey. It's been
too.
great working with you because when you started, you said that you're definitely ready.
Yes.
That's always something I ask him. I'm like, are you actually ready
Yeah, it takes work.
for the whole
just wanna
process? Yeah. Yeah. That's honestly, I tell people, like, if this is something you just kind of want to try, maybe it's not the right time.
Yeah.
Like, once you're ready to accept all the good with the bad, like, it's typically a better journey because you've accepted that just that's part of the process.
It's a lifestyle change.
It
Absolutely.
is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. I've said that too. People always are like, what diet are you doing? I'm like, dude, it's not even a diet.
Not a diet anymore.
It's just the way I eat now. Like, and
Yeah.
I can't imagine eating a different way.
Strategically eating to benefit how you want to feel and meet your needs.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very intentional. And
Yeah.
that's the biggest difference for me is I don't feel like I ever had an intention behind eating before other than I like this food, and now it's like I intentionally eat this food to feel
Definitely
and
a
look a
purpose
certain
behind
way.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good. That's exactly what I want to hear. So you graduated now. No. So tell me a little bit about what you do with your photography, though.
I'm a wedding photographer, so pretty much every weekend I'm at a wedding shooting, and yeah, it's a great job. It's high stress at times, and on the flip side, during the week it's all editing, so it's all sitting down, and that can
Your
affect.
strains on the Whoop were ridiculous
Yes.
when you worked.
Yeah.
You're on your feet a lot.
Yes,
shooting.
yeah. So on the day of the wedding, I'm running around literally up, down, everywhere, doing anything I can. But then for the other 6 or 5 days a week, I'm just sitting on the couch with my computer on my lap. So it's a very interesting concept. But I will say, I've been doing this now about 11 years, and for my first probably 6 or 7 years, I would have what is called the wedding photographer hangover, which the next day is like you can't get out of bed, you're tired, you have a headache, you're dehydrated, all these things. I don't have that anymore.
Now,
Yeah.
with your new approach, you've been doing it for a while now, but do you set certain times for you to eat when you're there?
Yeah, that's
bring your
actually,
water?
that's a good thing to mention. So most of the time we are fed at a wedding. They have a meal for us. And about, I would say 5 months ago, I finally said, I can't do this. I need to bring my own. So now I pack a meal and I love it. It's awesome because then I can eat it whenever I want to, which has always been a thing. If any wedding photographers are listening to this, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. We always get fed at like the most inopportune time when we need to get up and go do something else. So having a meal that I brought is really been really helpful, and it allows me to still eat because there was a time where I was like, I just won't eat anything, and that's not a good plan either.
Oh man, that
yeah,
must be rough.
yeah, during the whole day, and then it like makes me feel like I can resist the dessert table, because that's a big thing with weddings is there's always cake and there's always a dessert bar.
Very true.
And yeah, that's tough. I mean, I love sweets, so for me that's like just a glowing beacon of come eat this. So
I've seen some
just
crazy dessert setups.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
so fancy. People spend so much money
I
on
don't even want
dessert
to eat it
tables.
half the time because it looks too pretty.
Yeah.
I know they're
Like, is this
incredible.
real? Like, is this edible
Yeah,
stuff?
I feel like it's plastic sometimes. I'm like, no, that's sugar.
Yeah, and I have a good relationship with a lot of the bakers around here, and they make really good food.
Yeah.
And so, especially if I know who made it, it's that much harder to say
man.
no. But you can't do that every weekend. Like most people don't go to a wedding every weekend. And
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
That's a lot.
yeah, so it's a different experience, and you just have to have self control.
Yeah. There you go. Well, you go in with a plan. You have very specific
Yeah.
intentions, and you're there to work too.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
That's
To remember that's your job.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I'm getting paid for this stuff. Probably shouldn't get hammered in that.
Yeah. No, we don't drink at weddings, or
Yeah.
that would not
I think
be
that
a
is
good
some
thing.
people's intentions.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm at the wedding. I'm going to drink and eat.
Oh
and
yeah.
Maybe I'll take some photos while I'm at it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and did you, aside from not getting the hangover thing, do you feel like it's a different experience now that you're more fit?
Yeah, I just feel in general that I am less tired, less overwhelmed. Headaches. I used to get really bad headaches, and I still do when it's really, really hot, but I understand my body to a point where I know, like, okay, I need to eat a protein bar right now,
Yeah.
or I need to drink this amount of water, and it allows me to like fix that instead of just being grumpy and
There you
in
go.
pain. So
Nice.
yeah, it's been really good.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on and doing
Yeah,
this.
thank you for asking me.
I know it's sometimes maybe
A
intimidating.
little bit, yes.
You seemed so willing in the beginning. I was like, all right. And then you
I
came
was
in, you're
willing.
like,
I'm just a little nervous.
You're like, so I might be nervous now.
No, you did great.
You did great. You did
Okay,
great.
perfect.
Where if someone has a wedding and they need a photographer, how can they find you?
So my photography name is Amanda Collins Photography, and go on Instagram and search me, and
There you go.
you'll find me.
We'll tag it on
Thanks.
wherever we post this, so they know how to get a hold of you, and also maybe if they need some inspiration.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I'm totally willing to talk to anyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate it.
Yeah.
I will.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is about. Yeah, I think we're good. We're
Yeah.
good.
Good.
Thank you for tuning in to the Lazaro Hive, where we strive to entertain you.
You said it wrong.
Yeah.
All right, we're good, guys.
What's up, dude?
Yay.
It's cracking, bro. Yeah, thank
Woo.
you. Thank you.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Way better than I thought.
Taking
It
it
was
straight
gonna be.
I told you it was gonna be like it's super easy.
Yeah.
You're gonna know what to say because it's only about you. You know what I mean? Like
Well, asking my opinion.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I appreciate
All
it.
right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sure, I'll see you again.
Let me know whenever you want to drop in.
Yeah.
I'll let you hop on there.
I'll probably use my.
You just let me know. I got you. Don't even worry about it. You did this for me, I'll do that for you, all right?
All
All right. See ya.
How was it?
Great.
I think the camera turned off. Bye.